there might be a little bit of a delay. So if you can see the video, let me know. Okay, perfect. You guys can see me now. I got to raise this up just a little bit. Now I'm in the new studio. The video that I'm going to be putting this up on YouTube later is going to look a lot better. It's actually a little bit further out so you can see everything in here. I just got this up and going, and I wanted to do some kind of basically just test live and then get a few questions going. And for some reason, the Facebook connection is still broken. I don't know why. All right, we're good either way, though. So how's everybody going? I hope everybody had a good Christmas. I hope everyone got candle supplies. We're coming up into the new year, and honestly, I'm hoping it's going to be a lot better than this past year, especially with like shipping stuff, everything like that. Post office, UPS, now that I'm getting stuff. Said you're not seeing anything now? I'm going to try to put this into the Facebook group also. So sorry, 1 second. And if you guys have any questions, please throw them in there. I got a few on Facebook that I'll go through and start answering here in a little bit as well. Okay, so it seems like some people can see me and some people can't. I don't know which is which. If you can't see me, what platform are you looking on? Are you looking on Facebook or YouTube? Okay, can see me on YouTube. All right, good. So we'll get this thing going. And again, I'm going to upload the full video to this one. So if you aren't watching it or you're catching a replay on this one, it will be on YouTube and it's going to be on Spotify also. I don't know if you caught any of the updates, but Standley Handcrafted, or it's actually a new podcast. It's Handcrafted Entrepreneurs. It's a podcast. I do have the videos and the podcast. So this one that's currently recording will be on Spotify and Apple Podcast, iTunes, everything like that. So pretty much anywhere you stream podcast, it's available on there in audio form. Spotify will actually have the videos. And I've started to go through and upload all of the YouTube videos to Spotify. So if somebody likes using Spotify just for audio and just, I don't know, on the way to work or something like that, or at work, you can stream the audio now from Spotify. So a lot of the videos. So I'm getting all that stuff up and going, trying to get as many videos up as I can, as quick as possible. Thank you, studio. You can't really see everything right now. This laptop camera doesn't show everything, but it's definitely getting there. And I can't really show it right now, but the camera that I'm looking at right here looks so much better because it gets a little bit wider view. The color is obviously better. All right, we'll get some questions going here. So Kiara, I'd like to know, how can I get better hot throw with 464? Been working with it for almost a year, tried numerous scents from CS Candle Science with Eco and CD Wicks. What can I do better? Now, this question definitely comes up quite a bit. It's a very good question. And again, it's something that people are going to struggle with for a long time. I work with 464. I don't use it exclusively. I use 6006 exclusively, but working with 464, I've gone through all the struggles that most people do. And it usually comes down to the wick. It's, I've gone through the Eco Wicks, the CD Wicks, HTP. I like the HTP for 464 better than anything. The new LCS Wix that I just got in, at westsoundcandlesupply.com. The LCS Wix do work really well in 464, coconut, soy, anything like that. I would also check your fragrance setting. I don't know if you can answer right now. How much fragrance are you putting in there? It's like 8%, 10%, 12%. Because 464 can hold up around like 12%. And a lot of people will overdo it sometimes. They'll, I don't know how new you are into candles, but a lot of people that have asked this question before, you get into candles and you think that, not you in general, but most people think, and I did the exact same thing when I was just starting out, is you think the more oil that you put in, okay, you're using 8%. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I use. But what I was going to say is a lot of people will get into candles and they think the more oil that you put in, the stronger the fragrance, or the stronger the hot throw is going to be. And that's definitely not the case with all waxes. And I have generally found that adding less oil will help quite a bit. And the other big thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to, that is an easy mistake, and again, I made it in the beginning, is making sure that you get oils that are specifically made for soy wax, or 464, the 444, anything like that. You want to make sure that you get an oil that's actually rated and made for soy wax, because all fragrance oils are not made for every wax. And Candle Science, if you're on that one, yes, exactly. Scented Expression just said sometimes more oil can kill your wicks. Absolutely. It can kind of drown them out. It's sucking up too much oil in there. So if you're having some issues with 8%, you might even go down to 6 or 7 just to see what it can do. And then how is your melt pool when you're burning those? Because if you're getting a pretty good melt pool, or if your melt pool is too big, you might be burning through it just way too fast, and it's just not getting a chance to really absorb the oil the proper way and throw it the proper way. Natasha said, yay, you're back. Yes, I am back. And I do have to apologize. I haven't been doing many videos, lives, or anything like that, just because with the new candle supply company that I've opened, and getting everything to the new store, getting all that stuff set up, dealing with the construction, having my garage just completely jam-packed with wicks and oils and just everything you can think of for the new place. It basically killed the studio space, so I couldn't even get in there to record. So I'm hoping to change that. We've got almost everything down at the studio now, or down at the new store. So the videos will definitely come back, and they'll be a lot more regular again. So melt pool is good, always about 1/2 inch. Best I've gotten so far is about 7 out of 10 for hot throw. About 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch might be a little bit too big. What you said you're using the Eco and the CDs. What size jar and what size wicks are you using in that one? So you might, if you can, go down a wick size also and just test it in that one. Yes, a review on Mr. Wonderful said, can you do a review on the LCS Wix? Absolutely. I've got all the LCS Wix in. I've actually done and recorded some videos using the LCS Wix in a bunch of different containers so far. The ones I've tested the most are the auras or the vessels from Ambrosina Candle Company. Those are the ones that I've been doing a lot of testing with recently, just because I got a bunch of vessels from Julie, Ambrosina. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The Ambrosina Vessel Company. If you like the auras from Wooden Wick, they're the exact same vessels or the same style of vessel. They're really nice. She's got a bunch of good colors. And I picked up a bunch of those from her, and I've been testing the LCS, 2 LCS 50s in that one, and they've been throwing really well in 6006. But I will have full reviews on the LCS Wicks in the Cocoa Soy from Wooden Wick, and the Coconut Bliss or the Soy Bliss from 1617. Yeah, there you go. Tessa just asked about the 1617. So the new metal bowls, I think I still have some of those in my shop. So I'll go through and we'll do some testing on that stuff too. Okay, so Kara said it's a 3.5 diameter, tried single Eco 14 and also a double wick Eco 1. Yeah, with that one, I would almost, the CDs should be doing pretty good in the 464. Now, again, this is why I always discourage people away from using 464. I don't know if you're just starting out or not. I usually, 464, you definitely have to have some patience for, because you can go through bad batches in 464. But if you've tested it for a little while, I would definitely tell you to try a couple different wicks. Maybe try the HTP, definitely try the LCS wicks, the LCS, the HTP. But again, a CD and an Eco, and it sounds like you're doing it about right. How many oils have you tested in that one? Is it just one particular oil, or have you tested a few different ones? Yeah, where is it? It just went away. There we go. The Plastic Garden Gnome said, for my testing, the LCS is hard to wick with 4627. I actually haven't used the LCS in the 4627 yet. I do have 2 boxes of it in the shop, so I'm going to be testing that one. 4627 is definitely one that's a little bit tougher to wick, just because that wax is so thick. And if you haven't used it before, it's got the consistency of like a really hard Vaseline. It's an absolute mess to work with, but if you can wick it right, the hot throw is incredible. Let me see what we got here. So I'm picking up different questions here. So Mr. Wonderful said, do you think Soy Bliss from 1617? I do have some of that here. I'm going to be testing that one. Now that I've got everything back up and going, and the shop and the videos are up and going again, I'll be doing a lot more testing now. See, I missed a few up here. Tanya said, can you do some videos about your FOs? I like to hear descriptions for people smelling them out of the bottle. Yes. Again, with the videos coming back now, having a lot more video space where I can actually record, I want to go through and do a lot of those oil videos, because some of these oils are ones that people haven't used for a long time, like the Spice Market and the Violet Lime. Those are 2 of my favorites, so I'll definitely be doing a lot more of those. Gunther said crypto. I'm looking at crypto every single day, but I'm not doing enough with it. I do have money in crypto though. Let me see. What wicks for coconut brew wax? I think coconut soy. Is that what you mean? Might have been a typo. I'm not really sure. So coconut soy, it's a softer wax. So you want to get a wick that's usually doesn't burn as hot as like an HTP burns really hot. The hemp wicks definitely burn really hot. The CD wick should do pretty well in that one. The LCS wick or the LCS wicks do really well in some of the softer waxes like coconut. The best wick for 6046, which is the cocoa paraffin or the paracocoa. I didn't work with that one enough. I got a pretty decent hot throw with the HTPs and the CDs with that one. I need to do a little bit more testing with that one. My initial test on that one, I got a decent hot throw from it, but I didn't work with it enough to, I kind of really appreciate it. So I need to go back through and do some more videos on that one. So I honestly couldn't tell you the best wick to get with that one just yet. Mr. Wonderful said your plumeria fragrance oil is the business. I love plumeria. If you're looking for a good floral that kind of goes out to a lot of different users, a lot of different people, since a lot of people don't like florals, plumeria is one of those ones that will kind of bridge that gap along with lavender. Even people who don't like florals, like if you pick up a good rose or a jasmine or something like that, they can be really fragrant, almost perfumey. My daughter calls them an old lady perfume. So they're a little tough to get past some people, but plumeria and lavender are two really good ones, especially if you're just starting out and you want to have some kind of a floral in your line. Those are two really good ones. What do you recommend for a beginner, jars, wax, FO, etc.? That's from Tiana. Excuse me, I got to get some water here. So for beginners, as far as waxes go for beginners, I like 6006. It's a really good one. A lot of people will start out with 464 or soy, and that's exactly what I started out with. But you're going to run into issues with 464 just because it's so finicky. You have to have the right wicks. You have to have the right oils. You have to have, the right, everything has to be perfect with that one. And it can become kind of frustrating to use. So if you don't have something right, and we just had Kara in here asking about 464, been using it for a while, tried a few different wicks and just not getting a good hot throw from it. That's one of the reasons, I guess it's one of the biggest frustrations that people come away with 464. So for an easy wax to kind of start out with, I always say 6006. It's one of those waxes that's real forgiving. Even if you don't really get the right amount of fragrance oil in there, you don't get the exact wick in that wax, you're still going to get a pretty good hot throw from it. And then once you actually start to perfect it a little bit more, trying a few different wicks, you're going to take that decent hot throw up to an incredible hot throw with 6006. So it's a real forgiving wax. It's not kind when it comes to sinkholes. And sinkholes, if you don't know, right down through like the bottom, through the middle of the candle, you're going to get a sinkhole or it's going to cave like right through the middle of the candle. And 6006 is notorious for that just because it has so much paraffin in it. So you will have to deal with that one. But 6006 for a good beginner wax. If you're looking at jars, the jelly jars are a good one. You can find them pretty much in anywhere. A lot of the videos that are out on YouTube, not only mine, but other videos that are out there, they work with jelly jars. So there's a lot of good recipes out there that you can get just kind of right off the bat. And again, you can go to your local supermarket and they have the 8-ounce jelly jar. So even if you ran out of stock at like Candle Science or Nature's Garden or something like that, you can just run to Albertsons or Safeway or Ralph's or wherever you go, and they probably have some like canning jars there. As far as fragrance oils and wicks, again, I would probably try a few different ones. If you go to, Candle Science, Nature's Garden, Wooden Wick, anything like that, my own place, West Sound Candle Supply, I've got a few different wicks there, oils there. If you're using something like a 464, like I was saying earlier, you want to make sure that you have the right oil for that one. So Candle Science has a great guide on their website. It shows you, I think it's like 4 or 5 little leaves, and it shows you how well that oil will perform in soy. So if you get something with the 4 or 5 leaves, you know it's going to perform really well in the soy. Whereas something like the 6006, you can kind of get any oil with that one. So if you go to any of the supplier websites and pick out a fragrance oil, something that you like, it's probably going to work really well no matter what with 6006. And then as far as Wicks going with that one, I would say the HTP. I've always had good luck with HTP. The HTP or the CDs do really well. All right, and this Nikki says coconut wax and Wicks and coconut apricot wick size with an 8-ounce jar. So with the 8-ounce jar, I'm just going to assume it's like the regular 2.75 inch diameter. With that one, the coconut apricot was a little bit softer, so you're probably looking at something like maybe an LCS 65 or a 70. And if you're going to go HTP, you'd probably be looking at maybe an HTP 83, just because it's a little bit softer wax. It might be the 93. And again, that depends on what jar you're using. So if you're using like a glass jar or a tin, those wicks could go up or down 1 or 2. So Gracie asked, what wicks do you recommend for the Libby 918? I actually haven't used those. I'm going to have to look those up. So I'll go through and look those up, find out what diameter they are. You're saying a little over 3 inches in diameter. So a little over 3 inches, you're probably looking at a dual wick. So depending, you said CD, I would have to get that one out. So you're probably looking at like dual CDs. If it is a single wick, you might get a really big flame on that one. So you might try some of the larger CDs. But with that one, I would probably go with like a smaller dual wick. And so it should reach a melt pool in about 3.5 hours. So depending on where it is burning down the jar, usually by 2.5 to 3 hours, you should be almost at your kind of full melt pool or whatever it's going to be. If it's hitting full melt pool at an hour, hour and a half, your wicks are too big. They're too big or you've got too many. So you definitely need to go down. If you're not hitting the full melt pool within like 4 hours, it's definitely a little bit too small, unless it's at the very first burn. So if you've got almost a full melt pool, it's going like 90% of the way up towards the top, I would go ahead and test that some more all the way down. You probably have a good wick in that one. All right, so blend wax with soy, palm, and coconut. Now, I haven't worked with palm, but I have worked with soy and coconut. And as far as blending waxes, I love to blend waxes just to see what they do. And for me, there's really no good formula or ratio to start blending a wax. I usually just grab 2 waxes, throw them together, and I'll start with like a 50-50 blend. Get 50% of this one, 50% of that one, and then blend them together to see how well they look or how well they perform and kind of how they feel. And then you'll be able to tell if you get a wax, if you put like a really soft wax and a really hard wax together and you blend those together 50-50, you're going to have basically the best of both worlds. It's going to be somewhat soft and somewhat hard. And if you want to adjust that based on if you want it softer or harder, you would just go up or down from like 60 to 40, 30 to 70. So if you wanted it really soft, you'd probably put like 80% soft wax and then 20% harder wax. Can I heat 6006 and 6046 to 200, add FO, and pour ASAP? See, I just lost that. Will this help reduce sinkholes? You can definitely heat 6006 and 6046 up to 200. You can add fragrance oil at 200, absolutely, and you can pour as soon as possible, absolutely. I tend to pour a little bit cooler than that. I also tend to add my oils a little bit cooler than 200. You can do it at 200. It's not going to be that big of a deal. You will get a little bit more burn off from 200 down to 180, down to 160. I usually add right around like 175, 180. But it's not going to help with sinkholes. Actually, the higher you pour, and depending on the jar that you do. So if you had a jar that was like tall and narrow like this one, the hotter the wax that you pour in there, the more sinkholes or the more exposed your sinkholes are going to be. So if you had like a real flat container, and the reason why it does that is because wax shrinks as it cools. So if you're pouring it in with this one, it's going to harden up around the outside first, and it's going to leave the center the coolest, the longest, and that's where the wax is going to like shrink down and kind of pull from the middle. Whereas a taller or a shorter, kind of wider container, you won't get as many sinkholes. So if you want to avoid sinkholes, I would definitely pour a little bit cooler. So Chris asked, very new, haven't started yet, waiting for my supplies. I want to work with soy and essential oils only. What's your take on that? We have a lot of people that do that one. You can make a soy and essential oil candle that does really well, but the biggest thing to be concerned about with essential oils is they're not going to throw as strong as fragrance oils. So it's essential oils typically aren't really made for candles, although essential oils are in every single fragrance oil that's out there. But they're usually in fragrance oils to kind of enhance the cold throw or this, like the smell when you open up the bottle. And of course, when you pour it into a candle and before it's lit, you can smell some of that stuff. But if you're working with 100% essential oil, it's going to be a light smelling candle. So if you're in the market and you basically let your customers know that it's a kind of a lighter fragrance or light note candle, you're going to be just fine. And again, you are working with a wax that's a little bit more difficult, soy in general, and then you're adding an essential oil on top of it, which is also more difficult. So if you're new, you could get very frustrated very fast working with those two. If you're dead set on doing it, I would get into some of the soy and essential oil groups and start talking to people in there, find out what they do so that you don't go through the headache of trying to figure that one out over the next couple months. Testing the Pro Blend 400 at candle parties, getting good results with LX. Any other wicks to try? So the Pro 400, I actually haven't worked with the Pro 400, so I'm not really sure what wicks are going to be good with that one. The LX, I have worked with the LX. I do like those quite a bit. Along that same line, kind of burning around the same. I'd probably look at like the HTP. That's going to burn probably right around the same temperature as the LX. All right, sorry about that. I had to hit start on the camera again to record. And my fiance is in the chat there. Well, hello there. And the Candle Chef, and is that AJ the Candle Chef? Any major differences between 6006 and 4630? The 4630, gosh, I need to look that one up again. It's been so long since I've worked with the 4630. I think the 4630 is even a harder wax than the 6006. Let me pull that one up real quick. It's been I think I actually have some of it upstairs too. So the 4630, I think is a little bit harder paraffin wax. You're probably going to see, if it's a harder wax like that one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, you're going to get a little bit more of a sinkhole in that one just because it is a harder blend. And again, I'd have to go look at that one again. I know I have some up in my garage. Yeah, and does the 4630 get sinkholes as bad as 6006? It's a little bit harder paraffin, so it probably does. Again, I can't answer that one too much right now because I think I might be confusing it with another one. But if it's the wax I'm thinking of, it will get a little bit more of a sinkhole than the 6006 just because it is a much harder paraffin wax. Tessa moved from 6006 to Cocoa Apricot, loving it. The Cocoa Apricot is really nice. I need to do some more testing with that one. I got the Cocoa Apricot and the Cocoa Soy from Wood and Wick. I actually prefer the Cocoa Soy. It looks so nice. Both of those waxes look great when you pour them, when they harden up, and not dealing with the sinkholes. I can definitely see why somebody would like that. Which wax has the most rigidity? I imagine you're talking about like the stiffness. 4625 is a really hard wax. That one comes in like brick slabs. You have to hit it with a hammer. It's meant for pillar and melts and stuff like that, so you can snap them. So that one is definitely very rigid. How do you feel about the LX Wix? I actually like the LX Wix quite a bit. I don't do enough with them, but with some of the new stuff coming out, I'm going to be doing a lot more testing. Good spring scent. So coming up into spring, anything tropical is really good. If you can pick up Candle Science, I think it was their agave, the citrus agave, which is basically a volcano clone. I have Jamaica Me Crazy is also one. I've got that one. I always keep that one. Jamaica Me Crazy. Coming up in the spring, like I mentioned earlier, the plumeria and lavender are always really good spring scents. The Violet Lime, which I sell on West Sound Candle Supply, I love that one. It does really well. It's one of those ones that's kind of a sleeper. Most people, it was never a big seller for Candle Science, which is why they got rid of it. And it's one that I picked up. And I think a lot of people probably stayed away from it just because they don't know what it really smells like. When you hear Violet Lime, like nothing really comes to mind with that one. But I took a chance on that one, bought it, and it turned out to be one of my best sellers. And I was really disappointed when Candle Science got rid of it. So it was the absolute first oil I picked up when I started selling my own oils. Trying to think of some other ones. Volcano is a really good one. Good spring scent. Lavender, plumeria are also really good.
Yeah, Love for Life said, want to get rid of sinkholes, switch to cocoa apricot. That is absolutely a way to go. I will say I love 6006, but when you're pouring 50, 60, 70, I've done 100 in a day, dealing with sinkholes on 100 candles. Like, I love 6006, but I was ready to throw that wax out at the end of that weekend. Ash Spears says, what kind of packaging would you recommend for wrapping individual soy melts? At present, we're using plastic heat seal, but some of the scent is discoloring the labels and the font. If you're doing plastic seals, you definitely want to make sure that it's rated. Certain plastics like saran wrap or something like that, or something along those lines, will actually draw the scent out of the wax. So you definitely don't want to do that. I've seen a lot of people go towards, I don't know exactly what it's called, but you can get those craft paper bags that are lined with something that'll help protect it a little bit more. Those are a really good way to go for singles. Did I just hear LX and HTP burn around the same? They burn real close. They will be different in certain waxes, but I mean, as far as like the melt point on the wicks themselves, they're very similar. As far as like how they fold over or anything like that, they will be different with that one. So like certain wicks, if you don't, or some people out there don't know, some new people in here, certain wicks will ball up to create a little bit bigger flame. Some will keep their stiffness so that they don't fall over, anything like that. Okay, 4630 is closer to 4627. So I'm sorry, yeah, completely disregard what I said earlier. I was definitely thinking of a different wax. And again, somebody's asking about the 4636. I'm going to have to get that wax, and I've never worked with 4636. So Gracie says, for wax melts, pillar candles, I plan to blend 444, 4625. 4625 is said to hold 6%, and in blending with 444, could I increase the FO percentage? Yes, you can definitely increase the fragrance oil percentage. Even with 4625, you can add a little bit more than 6% if you're just doing wax melts. I do this one quite a bit. Even with 4625, it's a hard wax. So if you add too much, like 10% or something like that, once it hardens up, it's just going to squeeze that oil right out of the wax. But you can add a little bit more. And even if your wax melts sweat just a little bit, it's going to be just fine because you're not putting a flame to those. So if they are a little bit wet, or they get kind of the dew or the drops across the top, kind of like sweating, you're going to be just fine a little bit with that one, just because it might be a little bit messy in the package. But once you get that, you snap those bars and you put them in a wax melter or a candle warmer, it's not going to matter that you have extra oil in there. It's actually going to be to your benefit just because it's going to heat it up. Wade, thanks, man. Trying to get this thing up and going. Wade and I have been talking a little while, and we're going to be doing a live collab again together real soon too. But I've been talking to him about the podcast for the last couple of weeks, probably even longer than that. But yes, if you're adding 4625 and 444, because 444 can hold, I think, up to about 12%. So you can put right in the middle there. You can probably go 8-9% and be just fine because the 444 holds so much more. What are my top 4 waxes? Top 4 waxes, I'd probably go 6006 is definitely my number one. I like that one the best. I would agree with Love for Life. The cocoa apricot is a great wax. And the coconut soy. I actually prefer the coconut soy over the coconut apricot, but if you went with either one of those two, you're like, it's a coin flip between those two. Two very good waxes. For a fourth wax, I'm not even sure what I would go with for a fourth wax. I would probably just blend a few different ones. I mean, I do like 464 just because it's got that soy buzzword in it. I definitely use it when I take it to markets. I usually blend a little bit of something in my soy and then put that on the label. And when people come up looking for a soy-based candle, I have something on hand. Love for Life said, I wish 4625 came pre-pulverized. I could not agree more. That stuff is a nightmare. I've got like a little, a pickaxe or a pick for ice. And I just take the hammer to that thing inside the box and just beat the hell out of it until the whole thing is just like little chunks. Yeah, Wade says the Pro Blend 600. The Pro Blend 600 is really good. I've only worked with it one time. I need to get some more of it to do a lot more testing, but that's another very good wax. I think that pretty much wraps this one up. I know I've got a few more questions out there. I'm going to do another one of these real soon. And again, I'm going to talk to Wade in here and we'll try to get something scheduled. I know he and I have been talking about this for a while and I'm kind of springing this on him right now. Yeah, we'll definitely get this up and going. Like I said, I just got this new studio up and going. I'm going to try to get the camera set up a little bit better. I'm just running on my laptop right now, but I do have the video right here that I'm going to upload to the channel. So anybody that missed this, you'll be able to watch this not only on YouTube, but you can now watch this on Spotify. I've got the videos currently being uploaded to Spotify, and the new podcast will be on Spotify. And I've got all the links for that in the video descriptions. I definitely want to say thank you to everybody that showed up on this one. I didn't announce this one. It's not a full live on this one this time, which turned out to be great. So the questions kind of came in somewhat regular, which was good. It wasn't overflowing like normal. I didn't tell anybody I was doing this one. I just jumped on. So definitely thank you guys so much for jumping onto this one. I'm going to be doing these a lot more. And now that I've got the studio set up, I'm not bouncing between the new warehouse and the garage and trying to get everything up and going between two different places. We've got everything in the new warehouse. If you haven't seen the warehouse, the last couple of videos I showed off, the store won't be up and going for probably another 2 months or so, just because we're still trying to get everything in there. I mean, heck, we're still waiting on some of the construction for that one and the painter to go through. So hoping to have that one up and going. If you haven't, thank you very much, Betty, for the new studio, or the compliment on the studio. I'll show you a little bit more on this one so you guys can actually see everything that's going on in here. And if you haven't seen it, my new supply company is West Sound Candle Supply. You can also find it at DIYcandlesupply.com, DIYcandlesupplies.com. And definitely check it out. We've got a bunch of stuff over there. Oils, hoping to get wax real soon. The new vessels are out. They're in stock, the new metal ones that are out there. So again, thank you guys for jumping into this one. And I'll announce it much sooner than I did with this one. So the next time we go live, we'll get a bunch of people ready for this one so that you guys know about it. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys very much.